What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your co-host CJ, here my lovely co-host ZD on this beautiful Wednesday evening, April 29th. And we have a lot on our docket tonight, Z. Obviously we're going to be talking about the first round, wrap-ups of
Yeah,
some of the series
how
are
everything's been going.
how things have been going over there. We're going to be talking about the previews for tonight's game. And Cooper Flagg, man. You called it.
Yeah,
You
well,
called it before it was official. I think whenever that clip I posted, you had asked me who
oh
I thought was
right,
gonna win, and I said Con was gonna win. And after that,
I forgot about
Coop
that. Yeah,
Coop scored 45 and 50 or whatever it was. So he solidified it. So he is officially the rookie of the year of this season, and we're gonna be talking about the Adam Silver
oh
trying to
right, the
trying to
tanking.
trying to trying to lay down the
Yeah,
law on the tanking and everything for the NBA.
you
But
got us today, man. That new rule forced us
yeah.
to talk about it, right, CJ?
But
All
we
right,
have a lot to talk about, Z. But how are you doing tonight on this Wednesday evening so far?
yeah, I'm good. Y'all see the stash, man. Drew Timmy, Game 5. We back in LA with it. My plan is to go to Game 6 if we somehow lose, but LA forever. I'm feeling good, man. I'm in the building. We're going live after this.
Yep.
Had a good hour conversation before this,
Mhm.
trying to drag it out as long as we can. We don't have a ton, as much as we had to talk about with the season outlooks and stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm feeling good, bro. I've had a lot of good input on the website and the show, and we were talking about it, like people asking me, well, y'all used to do 3 of them and y'all only doing 2. We'll have to determine what it is for next year. I think the off-season files will keep people up to date with that, but I'm excited, bro. I feel good and had a good day. Worked, but this just doesn't feel like work. This is we talked about it. We're just trying to get more people to like basketball, man. So how are you feeling, bro? How are you doing today?
Man, I'm feeling good, bro. Was actually off today, so was able to go to
That's
the
good.
gym. Ate some breakfast, had a good day,
Good.
and then got into about to start recording, just setting everything up, and now we're here, chopping it up about
Yeah,
hoops.
yeah,
Been
yeah,
able
yeah.
to watch good games, these past couple of days, and just been good. Was able to see the Thunder get the sweep, and we'll talk about that. Not much really to talk about. Handle business though, but now we have
Dylan Brooks,
the
Dylan the
Rockets
villain.
are. Rockets or Lakers waiting for us in the second round, man. So that's obviously gonna be a dope thing if but if you are able to advance and
It'll
you be going
happen.
against us. Oh yeah, I think so too. So
Of
that's
course it
gonna be
will. The
fun.
basketball gods are on our side, bro.
I'm excited, bro, because
Yeah,
obviously those are both of our teams, and we've been watching it all year. So now we get to see a
totally.
matchup in a playoff series. So doing great, man. Just been relaxing, ready to hop on live. That's always fun. Those are always a dope experience if you're able to catch us in there. Go YouTube at Opinionated Sports, and even live on Assist. Check us out. But just like you said, just seeing how far we've come. We were talking about it earlier. Just how well the podcasts are doing now, how well the clips are, and we're starting to add other people help us out. We're talking about potentially getting these other people to help us out with the show. So like you said, just we were going to do this regardless, but the fact that they are been doing so well, we got to capitalize on the moment and figure out how to go maneuver the situation that we're in right now. But it's been going good, bro. I can't complain, and the basketball gods have been blessing us with some
There
good
you
games,
go.
man.
Yeah, the NBA playoffs, you said it 5 minutes ago, but it's just been so good. The first month of the playoffs has been amazing, but we're going to go bottom up today, CJ. Let's start from the back. Let's just get the tanking out of the way for the people. They want to hear about it. The NBA has presented its to 30 general managers its 3-2-1 lottery anti-tanking proposal that would expand the draft lottery to 16 teams, flatten the odds, and penalize the bottom 3 clubs by giving them only 2 lottery balls and a floor pick of the number 12 pick, while teams just outside the playoffs would get 3 lottery balls. Under the plan, losers of the 7-8 play-in games would get 1 ball, and teams could not win the number 1 pick in consecutive years or 3 straight top 5 picks. CJ, that is something. We talked about it before, right? And I brought it up, and I'll bring it up for the people on the show, but teams like the Spurs, that happened. They wouldn't exist. The Dylan Harper, Wembanyama duo. And to me, that is one that's going to go down in history just because that team seems to be, even right now, beating the Trailblazers recently, they seem to be ready for the moment. If Wemby's in the lineup, we know anything is possible with them. But that is the most interesting caveat of that. So you cannot win the number one pick in consecutive years or have 3 straight top 5 picks. CJ, how do you feel about that, bro? And the history that impacts, big time rule coming from Adam Silver, like you said. And this is, we're not in these rooms, bro. All we can do is give our opinions. So that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah. Obviously, like you said, like with the Spurs, it just happened for them. Even with us, whenever we were a young team with the Thunder, we ended up getting, top 5 picks in a lot of those drafts. So I get it, because we don't want to see teams tanking, and I feel like we've had the discussion all year long about tanking and this and that. So it's been kind of like a little just repetitive. Yeah, it's like I feel like we're repeating ourselves, but the fact that the league is like really trying to hammer down on it, I think it just shows what everyone has been talking about all season. Like, oh, this team is tanking, they're not playing their starters, this and that. Like Adam Silver does a good job about, if they don't like what's going on in the league, they usually tend to change it. And if it isn't well received from the fans or other managers of the teams, of course, that's when stuff starts to get changed. So it's cool in that aspect, but I think it really puts it limits the small market team like the Thunder, even the Spurs. Like, obviously the Spurs have been a great franchise since the 2000s, but it's been because small market, they're able to build through the draft, and that's how they did it, even their early dynasty, and they're looking like they're going to start repeating it now. They don't get a lot of free agents to want to go to these small market teams because they don't have enough money to pay these guys, and the draft has been the supplemental thing to make up for those, because you're not a good team. Okay, you have opportunity to get a top 5 pick, and you can even bump people and get a higher draft pick than what you should have, and it's given a lot of just smaller markets the opportunity to get to that point. Obviously, you could have top 5 picks for years on years, and not really amount to anything. So it does take a little more than just that, but I think the Spurs are the most recent example and of why they don't want that to happen. I just feel like it doesn't. Yeah. I just feel like that doesn't usually happen, though. We could be having a whole different conversation if, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Wemby, if they were on another team, what would that look like?
That's a good point, bro. I don't want to walk over that. That's a great point. Usually that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
To your point, that you don't just get 3, dare I say this, potential Hall of Fame guy, right? That's super rare. So to your point, my thing is with Adam Silver, he's done a good job of implementing new things like the plan and understanding, okay, well, the All-NBA teams, they're positionless, right? The All-Star game, right? You just want to say that. He's had some really good rules, and I brought this up to you. I actually like the 3-2-1 lottery rule in terms of anti-tanking, but you just brought up a great point. The Spurs never really tanked. No. They want to be good. They're just in a small market. So bringing up the small market teams is a great point. If you're listening to this right now, that's a lot of value. Don't let that go over your head, because that's very true. There are a lot of small market teams who have built through the draft, who don't get a ton of great free agents, who use the draft as a supplemental reward, to your point, to get great players, potentially Hall of Fame players. And not having a consecutive number 1 pick in consecutive years or 3 straight top 5 picks it spells danger if you want to hoard draft picks, because this rule wasn't in place when you traded for them. And that's also another thing that we'll get into. Like, teams made trades without this rule in mind.
Yeah. They weren't even thinking about it because it wasn't a thing, So how are they going to, I'm not going to be able to, that's.
So if one of our 3 straight, we traded for one, we don't get that pick now because we got 3 straight top 5 picks, but we traded for the pick. So it's our pick. What is Adam Silver going to do? We have the answer to that. The league would also gain the authority to reduce lottery odds or change draft positions, which CJ, wow.
That's
Imagine
crazy.
If Adam Silver's like, nope, and this pick will be going to Atlanta via Miami because they are not within ruling of the 3-2-1 new lottery rule. I would be like,
that would be tough, bro. That would suck. That would be so shitty.
Be tough. Yeah, it would be so shitty. And
because it's like,
Yeah, and fans of these teams, I understand the historical aspect of it, which is why I bring up these trades and how they were made previous to this rule. I wonder what that's going to look like whenever he does, because he will have to. This is our opinion. I know you share this with me too, CJ. At one point, he's going to have to implement this rule and change it.
Yeah.
So I wonder what it's going to look like for the team that happens to. Truthfully, he's able to change draft positions for teams deemed to be tanking. So the NBA can deem you tanking, even if you're not. If their investigators determine that you're tanking and you are in violation of the anti-tanking new CBA rules, this is new. This is 2 years in the making. This rule obviously happened yesterday. So, I think it was this morning. Was it this morning or yesterday night?
Yeah, I think it might have been last night. I think
it might have been last night
or this morning. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
one of the two. One of the two. But this is a new thing that's occurred in the NBA. Previous to Adam Silver, David Stern understand that team sucks. He never once talked about tanking. We could be considered unk now, CJ, hate to say it, but for the new school kids, the kids watching this, we appreciate you. You guys didn't really know how David Stern commissioned the league.
Oh,
he didn't mind tanking.
No, he
knew it would give opportunities like a San Antonio, like a Sacramento, like a Utah, right, to get great players in the draft. And that's a really interesting talking point for teams that the NBA deems to be tanking. So it's up to their discretion, which we don't have those rules yet. And I'm excited to see what makes a team tank.
Right.
Like, what are the specific, when the investigators go in and look at the Pacers and find them, what did they find? They never released those findings. I think those should be public, by the way. Commissioner Adam Silver, who calls ending tanking a business, right? Basketball and integrity issue, expects owners to vote on this proposal on May 28th and includes a sunset clause after the 2029 draft. Sunset clause essentially means they will revisit this ruling after the 2029 NBA draft. Sunset clause means the sunset's fading, right? So as this rule is fading, the term, they'll review it again. That's all that means. Sports Illustrated notes the relegation zone will push teams to win late season games, which is good, and could improve the competitive product, which is also good. But that means that would warrant legitimately bad or injury-plagued teams could be pushed into the bottom three and slide towards the 11th or 12th pick. CJ, that's also another great talking point. We talked about this with the Pacers. You brought it up on the last episode. They weren't trying to tank.
No.
They tanked because they got hurt. And in my opinion, it doesn't make it right because, again, fans still paid for their season tickets. Yep. They're expecting a certain quality of a roster, which is the point to it, the point that Adam Silver made about improving the competitive product, right? That's what that means.
Yeah.
People still pay for these tickets. I agree. If I go to a Lakers game, I want to see everybody healthy, right? I don't have the most money in the world. We can't just go to any Lakers game yet. So I value my time as a fan at those games. Mm-hmm. But if I'm a Pacers fan, I understand why they're losing. They don't have anybody to play. Why should they be penalized for actually being injured? Which is another argument you can make here. Mm-hmm. We will get to the end. Whenever we do, we will explain if we agree with the rule or not, because I know that's ultimately what you guys are wondering. However, it's certain clauses like this that do make it interesting, right? They want to improve the competitive product, but they also want to penalize teams that are hurt. Like what?
Yeah.
You're hurt. You can't control that, right?
Right.
The same piece cautions that expanding the lottery to 16 teams could yield bizarre scenarios, like we're talking about, where a play-in loser or even a conference finalist could land a top 3 pick, raising concerns of an overcorrection, right? That's another thing too. Well, if you give the forfeited pick to a team that was in the conference finals, is that solving tanking, CJ?
No.
Right.
No.
So we need to right. And luckily, Adam Silver understands that. He's not going to just toss the Thunder an unprotected top 3 pick unless they are found in violation of the tanking, this new proposal and this new rule, because that's the rule. If the Thunder are on that list, they will receive that top 3 pick and it'll be free of charge. And why? It's because that team that forfeited the pick was deemed to be tanking by the NBA. And while it makes sense on the outside, if you're an internal fan or if you work for these teams, obviously they have employees, GMs. The players are employees. People forget about that. The players as well. They're going to have something to say about that, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be happy about that, right?
Yeah.
Analysts also argue that while the proposal punishes blatant takers, which was the point, it also reduces the chances of small market or rebuilding clubs to draft franchise stars, which is what CJ said, potentially trapping them at the bottom. If adopted, teams would need to invest in roster depth and player development to avoid the relegation zone and remain competitive, i.e. Grizzlies, i.e. Thunder, i.e. Lakers, i.e. Magic. Great teams with great player development where you see the Austin Reeves, the Nuggets as well. You see the Peyton Watsons come out of the blue. You had no idea they're hooping. Well, that's their player development coaches.
Yeah.
God Shamgod's been great with Anthony Black, and he's done great with Wendell Carter Jr. We've seen Wendell Carter Jr. take a leap to the point where he's making Jalen Duren look like a fool. And it's not because he's better than him. It's simply because in this situation, in this series, he's taking advantage of it. I'm not going to sit here and say Jalen Duren's not better than Wendell. He is. What? But in this specific situation, God Shamgod, their player development coaches have them balling out. And you got to respect that, because that is not something that shows up in the draft, right? That's a part of your team. So remember that. Right. There's a relegation zone now in the draft. Obviously, the top three have that fixed. The middle zone is where the ping pong balls will actually shuffle. And then also the last three, the championship teams, the conference team, also have a fixed relegation zone in the draft. Teams might have to address their trade strategies, knowing that bottom three finishes no longer maximize draft odds, which is what we were talking about, and plan long-term with the awareness that the system could be revisited again after 2029. CJ, so for the next 3-4 years-ish, you have to be mindful of this new rule and also be mindful that it could change. Post-2029. So if you're making trades for 2030 or further in the future, 2030 or further in the future, you have to keep in mind that the sunset clause could take effect, which is where they'll remove this rule if they find that it's not suiting the NBA good. I don't like that. Because once again, we talked about it. Teams made trades 2 years ago, and they're starting to pay dividends now. They didn't know this rule was going to be in play. Yep. And now they have to also potentially make trades that disregard this rule after 2029. Yeah. I don't know, man. And so here's my opinion. I like the rule, the 3-2-1 lottery rule, to explain again. The top three finishes in terms of the lottery, right? So the worst three teams in the league have a fixed odds now, instead of it being where they have the most ping pong balls, right? The other teams in the middle of the lottery, so from 4 to 12, 4 to 12, those are the rest of right? Or is it 14? I think it's 12.
12 to 12.
I think it's 12. So from 4 to 12, the rest of the teams have unfixed lottery odds, because those are the teams that are actually quote unquote in the lottery, right? Because remember, the NBA is penalizing tanking. So the top three teams don't have the ability to move up. Essentially, they just have a fixed number of ping pong balls. And then also the bottom three, to finish out the lottery, which is through 14. So it's actually not 12, it's 14. To finish out the rest of the lottery, the other three, they have fixed lottery odds too. So you really want to be in the middle now. Yeah. If I'm being honest, you don't want to finish
worst.
You don't want to finish the worst anymore, right? Which is the point of this rule.
Yeah.
So I like that it. I like that it doesn't. I like that it takes away tanking. I just don't like the way that they're going about it, because it impacts the history of the game and it impacts the future, right? We talked about the 2029 sunset clause. The trades that are going to be made in the future will now be impacted because of this rule. That's the one thing I don't like about it. However, I will say it does remove tanking.
Yeah.
Which was the point.
Yeah. That is the whole point. They don't want to see teams just selling games just to get a higher chance at a pick in the draft. But I wanted to bring this up to see what you had thought. If it was going on right now, the bottom three teams, Washington, Indiana, and Brooklyn, would have the same odds as all the other in-between teams. So how would you feel about that? As a fan of the sport, as a someone that's been keeping up with it, how would you feel about it taking effect right now? These teams not being potentially
they'd have one less lottery ball. They'd have one less lottery ball. So they'd even be at a disadvantage. It's just a wasted season.
Yeah.
But that goes back to the tanking. Do the Nets really suck? Or did they also lose some games too? Because we saw that month.
That's true.
Where they played well. And Adam Silver has a right to be like, well, if you guys can play this way, why aren't
Why
you
aren't you
playing this way
playing?
more?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you want a top 3 pick, but what if that wasn't in the cards, which is
Right.
what he's doing? Because he
Yep.
knows that teams are a lot better than, again, Bryce Sensabaugh comes out, he scores 40, and the Jazz take him out.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Well, it's to get a good draft pick, but what if you couldn't?
Like, what if that didn't even matter? What if
What
you were
if
just
that
going
didn't
out there and
matter?
winning
Right? We were just going to hoop.
poop?
And I understand, but since it's a business and there's money involved, we can't take away the ability to build through the draft. I'm not saying this rule does that, but it definitely hinders small market teams.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, if I'm 3-2-1, if I'm getting fixed lottery odds where I'm only getting 2 ping pong balls, the teams that just missed the playoffs are getting 3 or 4, I'm gonna be mad, bro. But I would only be angry if we weren't trying to tank. But if we're trying to tank, we're taking advantage of the rules, which I don't disagree with. If we know we can be better, why aren't y'all being better?
Right.
If we know the Nets are like not the worst team in the NBA, why are y'all the worst team in the NBA? It doesn't make any sense. It's not worth a draft pick in the future because one, it's a future bet. You don't even know if it'll pay off.
Right.
Right? Like a lot of these draft pick, like Luka was a great pick, but the Kings passed up on him for Marvin Bagley. What, you're gonna tell Vlade Divac in that moment, oh, don't take Luka, or sorry, don't take Marvin Bagley, take Luka, because I know Luka's gonna yeah, you say that, but whenever we go back to the moment,
right,
you might take James Wiseman over LaMelo too.
Yep.
So we gotta start having these conversations, man, because at the end of the day, the NBA and Adam Silver's clearly made his point. He wants to change. He likes change, clearly. With the All-Star game and the positionless All-NBA teams and the play-in. And now this, it's a major impact. And he gave the power back to the NBA by saying we have the ability to change draft positions for teams that are deemed to be tanking, which is up to their authority. I have no idea the ruling on how they'll decide on whether or not teams are tanking.
I was gonna say, what is that gonna look like, bro? That's gonna like some rig type. I don't even know. There's a lot of things that could happen from them being able to do that now.
I don't disagree with the rule. However, I know it'll impact the NBA in a way that is negative.
Yeah,
but that happens with most things. And if we're being honest, that's the story of life. You solve a problem, there's a new problem. True. Welcome to life.
Yep.
You solve a problem, there's a new problem.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it's like to be alive. So anytime there's a problem, Adam Silver, we know he's going to try to fix it. Adam Silver's a younger commissioner as well. Mm-hmm. Most likely we have 12 to 15 more years of him before he chooses to choose his predecessor. But in that meantime, I mean, he's changed the NBA forever, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the last question. Is Adam Silver one of the best NBA is he one of the best commissioners that the NBA has ever seen? Obviously not better than David Stern.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like David Stern is definitely up there. And I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't even tell you really what like Larry O'Brien, what he did. Like I can't tell you off the top, and I don't know as much as David Stern, but I would say he's got to be up there because I feel like I mentioned earlier, he has done a great job of responding to criticism and this and that. Usually it's him just doing whatever people say they want it to be like with the All-Star game. Oh, we don't like this, you should do this. And next year, oh, they're wanting to change the rules now. And, we've kind of seen what that turn is turned into. But I feel like to be a good commissioner, you have, you're a representation of the league and of all the NBA teams and, really the audience, the fan base too, in a sense, the fact that he is willing to change certain aspects of the game and bringing in positionless, all NBA teams and, all these things. I think it has made the game a lot more, I wouldn't even say liked, but just interesting because it was something that, we were seeing a lot of like all NBA first team players that were centers that probably didn't really deserve to be the top 5 player. But since it was position locked, you had,
to make a decision,
Joe
right?
Kame Noah as a first team
Or right,
All-NBA,
DeAndre
or
Jordan.
Jordan, these centers that are great, don't get me wrong, but we know that there's probably a couple more players that deserve to be in that top 5, and we seen that. So I would say he's up there for sure because of stuff like that, just being innovative and not really staying traditional in a sense, but willing to make changes if audience or the teams don't agree with whatever it is that the rule is placed. But like you said, it's always a problem they can solve now is just creating a new one for the future. Like you mentioned with these picks, like that's good. We're gonna run into that with the whole tanking situation, and we'll see what that looks like at the time. But as of right now, like you said, he's doing what the teams are wanting, and the fans that keep talking about tanking. He's trying to solve that problem, and like you mentioned, he's willing to really affect teams if they're going to show signs of tanking. So I commend him in that, and staying true to what he wants to keep the game authentic and a true feeling, and not lesser the quality of it to benefit you in the future, whatever it may
Yeah,
be. So
lessen the quality of the competitive product.
competitive
Yeah,
product, yeah.
I'm done with the tanking for today, man. That's a good talk. I agree with that opinion. He has been one of the most innovative commissioners that we've had. Granted, like CJ said, I wasn't around for Larry O'Brien's tenure, but I can assume he was innovative as well. NBA championships, trophies named after him. He did something,
Right.
but Adam Silver's ability to change the game and make it more interesting. That was the word that you used, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. So we'll see. Still needs to be voted on. It hasn't gone through yet, but it most likely will. Obviously, if it has the traction. So
yes, sir. Well, you want to talk about some of these first round takeaways
there you
from this
go,
playoffs?
Man. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, bro. So, I'll be talking about the Eastern Conference right now. Use some Eastern Conference first round takeaways of the NBA playoffs. The Eastern Conference first round has offered a mix of dominance and drama, with top seeds tested in the bracket in flux right now. New York seized control of its series after 2 1-point losses by playing through Karl Anthony Towns at the elbow to free up Jalen Brunson. Brunson erupted for 39 points, 17 in the fourth quarter. Man, you know how it is with the captain. Whenever he has the moments, he was cooking, bro. So shout out to Jalen Brunson. I feel like
bro, he had a hezzy on Jalen Johnson. Hezzy. Bro, he like pump fake. Jalen Johnson jumped. He did a step through to the right and then laid it up with the right hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, wee. Yeah, Jalen Brunson's good, man.
Yeah,
I like it.
He was cooking, brother. He's cooking, man. So, as the Knicks won Game 5 by 29 points and held the Hawks to 42.7% shooting, limiting CJ McCollum to only 6 points. And, we've been talking about him a decent amount.
For sure.
I think I live streamed the second game, I believe. First game, one of the beginning of the series.
The Hawks, yeah.
The Hawks won, Hawks versus Knicks. And, just seeing what he was, I think he dropped 26 or something. I think it was game 1. And then he followed that with another 30-point performance or whatever it was. So he's been balling out, and, just I hadn't brought it up to you. I think I'd said it to like Zach and the boys, but, CJ McCollum is essentially like a contract dump for the Atlanta Hawks in a sense. And now we're getting him performing at his top level, probably the best that we've seen him in the playoffs in the recent memory, probably since the New Orleans like Pelicans days when he first got there. But shout out to CJ. I feel like he's one of those players that doesn't
like
post
Dame. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, what I mean? Like he figured out his skill, and that McCollum for sure.
It's dope seeing that, because he's shown us he could do this in the playoffs, obviously with Dame, like you mentioned, and, we haven't really seen that since. So now later on in his career, and I feel like we've talked about this a lot this season specifically, but the Kevin Durant's, the LeBron James, these players that are so deep, Kawhi Leonard's, Jaylen Brown even, a lot of these players deep into their career, you're kind of seeing them still take another level and a leap in their career so late and far into it. So
there was a quote by Damian Lillard. He would say, CJ McCollum would be me if me wasn't me. And that's the best way to explain it. This is a dude who's averaged, 18 points, 19 for his career. I mean,
Hmm.
I guess he's underrated, but I know he's not underrated to you, but
Right.
just to the people. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't remember him being this type of player, but
Mm-hmm.
he's so capable. So yeah, the 6 points that was huge for me, bro, because I watched that game and I was hoping he would show up, and it was
Hmm.
odd that he didn't give more. I know Atlanta fans were probably salty just because
Yep.
Jalen Johnson hasn't had the craziest series. Like you brought it up. You brought it up. CJ's been their best guy. So
Hmm.
just trying to turn his water off, it clearly worked out. I caught a little bit of this game, but it got to 20 points and I cut it. OG was
Yeah.
hooping.
Hmm.
Brunson was hooping. Cat's been a non-factor. I know you talked about him for a second, but 7 shots?
Yeah.
I know we won by 30, but there needs to be more aggressiveness from him. The only time I
Hmm.
saw it was the 20-point triple double, and
Yep.
hats off to Brunson. We talked about him a lot, but we're not going to talk about him too much. But he was killing in this last game. So like you said,
Hmm.
he got 39 at 17 in the fourth.
Yep.
Um, at times, it's like people forget how good he is too. He's a first team All NBA
Yeah.
caliber player. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, he's been doing great. He's been doing incredible all year. But like you said, it's been, OG Anunoby stepping up. Josh
Mm,
Hart is. I feel like he's
Josh
always
Hart.
making an impact whenever he's on the court. But it's been a great series
Did you
nonetheless.
see the Michael Beasley the thing he said about him?
About Josh Hart.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
because he brought up this is a cool story about him. I guess Michael Beasley, I forget what he was going through. I don't want to get your story wrong, sir, so I'm not going to even say it. But he was going through something, and I remember he said he was crying on the team bus, and this was when he was on the Lakers. It was
Mm,
like him and Bi. But he said, bro, Josh Hart came up to him, was like, bro, I don't know what you're going through, fam, but you could talk to me. And Beasley was like, I never did, bro, but I love Josh Hart. He's like, I love Bi too, because Bi would always tell me, oh, OG, like, what you doing after the game? I'm not trying to go to the club. I'm just trying to hoop. I'm trying to
yeah.
like play video games. And he's like, for sure, bro, we can go do that. But Josh Hart, a lot of people forget, sort of a journeyman before he got to the Knicks. He's
Hmm.
found a home in New York. I don't know why the Lakers ever gave him up. Clearly, he's
Dude.
an Alex Caruso, Marcus
Hmm.
Smart type of player. And the Knicks have turned. I think the Villanova boys has something to do with it, right? Obviously,
100%.
DiVincenzo's gone, but he wasn't going to leave his brother. And I think Josh Hart now, the type of player that he is, I wasn't expecting it, honestly. A 3-and-D guy, somebody who can lock up your opposing team's best player, goes to show you his growth. Because I watched this game religiously, and I was not expecting his ascension. So shout out to Josh Hart, man. I know you might have saw the Beasley interview with Shannon. You
Shannon,
might have saw
yeah.
the clips
I've been seeing
because he,
clips. Yeah, I didn't see that one
yeah,
though.
on TikTok and
Hmm.
everything. But it was cool, bro. I didn't know that he did that. So shout out to Josh Hart. That's
Shout
really
out to
dope.
Josh Hart, man. But still talking about this series though, Atlanta's offense must rediscover its game three form, 49% from three, because McCollum scored just 4 points in game five, and the Hawks' anemic shooting has left them one loss from elimination.
Yeah,
I
he had
think
like two
that's
free throws and two buckets.
yeah, he's we were just talking very highly of him, but he's kind of slowed down a lot. So it's interesting to see what that looks like. Obviously, still having an opportunity tonight, right? That their
Well,
game
yeah,
six is
uh, tomorrow.
tomorrow.
But
Tomorrow.
Knicks, Hawks. CJ, you got the Knicks, right?
Yeah, I still got the Knicks.
Yeah, so
Still
yes,
rocking,
me
still
too.
rocking with the Knicks. They've made it a lot more interesting though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
Like I
they're playing
said,
with their food. Like I told you,
the
LA playing with their food too.
I was about to say this is I mean we said it before the playoffs started. This will be a good test for the Knicks. They have high expectations.
Good
The
take.
Hawks were coming into the playoffs are one of the hottest teams in the league. Kind of figured out offensively. Obviously first time with Jalen Johnson being the main guy on the roster to lead a playoff team, but it's been a good test. They've had to fight a lot. This is one of the better playoff series we've had. A lot of clutch games. I think we talked about that last time as well. But besides this last game, the one that was a blowout, but all the ones leading up to it, they've been pretty
Yeah.
close, and I think it's helped them figure out how to win. And I think that's something with
Mm.
the Knicks that they usually do a pretty good job of getting those scrappy wins. If you look at the box, there's no like clear advantage, but then you look at the total score and they won by like three or four. They
Yeah,
always
yeah,
do a
yeah.
good job of getting those type of dubs. So and in the playoffs you need that, especially they were just tied 2-2, end up getting the dub the other night, blowing them out, getting
Yeah,
a
it
3-2
was a
lead.
big game,
Now
5-1.
it's game 6 in Atlanta, so we'll see. We'll see what it looks
Yeah.
like. But I'm excited.
To
I
your
think
that was New York's biggest win of the year. Did we talk about that? I forget. It was the Nuggets too,
it's the
but the Nuggets
Nuggets.
and the Knicks were in the biggest games of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it for
Yeah,
them.
at the point of the season for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was it.
Yeah.
So seeing Brunson cook, and that was another thing I was going to bring up. He's been the answer for them at the
Mm-hmm.
end of these games, and OJ Anunoby's starting to step up. McCall Bridges has been quiet, but that series that's not one you want to miss. I've watched that one a lot more than I expected to.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Going into one of the other series that is going on, and it got events last night. So
Yeah,
Boston's inconsistency surfaced again when the Celtics squandered a chance to close out Philadelphia, shooting under 30% from three, unlike the Celtics, and especially
Mhm.
Derek White. And, I know you've seen him struggling a lot, Z, but he's not looking like how he usually has for them as of late, but who is shooting 30% and averaging 8 points for the series. Needs to rediscover his regular season form. And the biggest, reverse. Talk about the Celtics for a little bit. Shout out to Joel Embiid, man. Had an incredible game last
Yeah,
time. And, I think it was on, they played, was it Sunday? Because I remember us
Sunday. Yeah.
talking about it on Monday, and I thought that
Mhm.
the 76ers were going to be able to win, and that's when they got blown out. And then they come out for this game the other night,
He looked
backs
awesome, right?
backs against the wall. Joel Embiid, he started to shoot further away from the basket, and then second half he really started to get closer to the rim, which he should have been doing. I think it's just for Embiid, once he gets his 3-point shot going, especially like a team of Boston, they're gonna start running out to him, giving him the space to blow by and get to the mid range and just open up the game a lot more. But he started to really lock it in the second half and
Man,
started dominating. Showing the
he is
front
so
court
good.
depth that the Celtics have. Just a lot of teams can't handle that of the player that Joel Embiid, but Celtics right now they looked pretty suspect, but
Yeah,
he looked
dude,
incredible.
CJ, you said it. Him and Kawhi Leonard are the only two players that I've seen be hurt in their first game back. Is like,
It's
I
like
mean,
they
it
didn't
wasn't his first game; it was like his second game. But
right.
the Celtics, he even said it after. I don't know if you heard it in the post game, but he said, "Oh, they don't have anybody who can guard me." I think Joe
I didn't
Mazzulla
see
knows
it.
that too, but it's
100%.
true.
They
And
don't.
we spoke about it. The Sixers are like, okay, yeah, they shouldn't beat the Celtics, but they're a bad matchup for them.
They are.
If the Sixers are healthy, it's like, oh goodness. Tyrese is going, which he's been going all year,
All
but he's been
year.
going in the series.
Yeah.
DJ's had that blow up game where he
Yep.
got 30 and 10 and
Mm-hmm.
he was doing everything. And of course, Embiid gives you the Embiid game. And that's what the glimmer of hope, the light at the end of the tunnel. We talked about it, the summer of Joel Embiid, figuring out, can he give us anything in this playoffs? And if he does what he did last night, this could go 7, bro. I don't think they win, but we'll talk about that later. But
yeah,
I don't know if the Celtics were expecting what Embiid can give them right now.
No. Yeah, and I think it's something that, we talk about all the time whenever Joel is on the court, whenever he shows us, he's available, we know what he can do. And that's obviously, shifting a series in certain points of the year, but especially right now, him not even really being 100% still able to do that. And then if you get the Tyrese Maxey 30-point game, if that Joel gets you 25 to 30, that's almost 60 points right there. And the two, you get PG to get 15 to 18 points, VJ to contribute, Kelly Oubre hitting a couple threes. Like they have the roster, you know what I mean? Like we've talked about it, like depth wise isn't the greatest, but you have Quentin Grimes, you have the Kelly Oubre's, you have players that can been Adem Bona, the players that are coming off the bench and giving energy, and Drummond, knocking down threes. I remember we talked about it that one game. Oh, if you bet on his three, it must have been a +4, that whatever it was, and now he's knocking them down. So it's just been incredible to see because their season has been such a roller coaster. And PG getting suspended, Joel being in and out the lineup, Maxey pretty healthy, but just a lot of things not really lining up correctly for your roster. Now it's getting better, and it's at the best time of the year because you can really, force a game 7, potentially win this series. Not saying it's gonna happen, but if you have Joel Embiid playing at that level, I think anything's possible for y'all. So I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah, Philly fans come out of the dark. I seen them in on Twitter. Where are y'all? My goodness,
where have y'all been all year?
I'm like, I must have. That's why I said I'm done talking about it, bro. I don't even know. I can't even tell you. And I watch most of the games. Same with you. So I'm just like, if Embiid's in the lineup, like you said, anything's
possible, man. It's been incredible, man. But man, for Boston to advance, stars Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown must be more assertive. Each had 2 points in the fourth quarter. And Derek White, who is shooting 30% and averaging 8 points for the series, needs to recover his regular season form. And then the biggest surprise of the series,
the playoffs,
in the East, the number 8 Orlando Magic smothered the 60-win Pistons in Game 4. Desmond Bane, who we've talked about a lot on this podcast, had 22 points. Still not worth for first round picks, but nonetheless, you've been balling out this playoffs. And Franz Wagner, 19 points, led a 94-88 win that gave Orlando a 3-1 lead as the Magic committed only 12 turnovers to Detroit's 20th, and Jamal Cain delivered clutch dunks. I know you saw it, Z. I know you saw that.
Jalen Duren got put in the casket. Boy, I saw this live. Okay, guys, I'm watching on my phone, and I'm eating some food. I'm eating kava. And I'm like, I'm just looking. Jamal Cain passes by Cade. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just looking. Bro. He rose
up, bro.
Oh, I said, whoa. Like, I was not expecting that, bro.
I didn't know he had that in his bag, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Did you?
And so Austin Rivers was like, that might have been the best dunk I've seen in the last decade. And I wanted to bring that up. Players like Jamal Cain or Derek White, you brought him up. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Derek White. He's been hooping for years.
Yes.
He's no longer we always said it, he's no longer the underrated player, right?
Nope.
So now we expect him to get to 20. Well, Jamal Cain's done a great job in this series. Another role player who, you're not expecting the most out of him, but whenever you see something like that, it shows you what he's capable of. So now I know he's capable of it. And if you don't, you stupid. That was one of the best dunks of the year, bro. No doubt.
Yeah, that was especially who
might have been the best.
It was probably the best. Yeah,
it was the best.
I can't think of another one off the top of my head.
Not this year. Because we had the Ant one last year on John Collins and like his hand. Like there's a couple big ones, but I don't remember him much this year. I remember LeBron's on Luke Cornett. Oh. He had that one punch out, and but like I can't really. Anthony Black too. Anthony Black had a poster on 4 people.
4 people, yep.
But to CJ's
point, I would say there hasn't really been.
There really hasn't been. No Jaw, no Ant, really.
Nope.
No, yeah. And speaking about Anthony Edwards, I don't know if he's gonna be flying like that anymore, bro. He might turn into Jaw and be like, I'm not trying to get hurt.
Not trying to dunk like that.
Like anymore. It ain't even worth it. Yeah, it's not worth like a crazy block or a highlight block just for me to hyperextend my knees. So that did scare me, but neither here nor there. Jamal Cain showing out. Perfect 10 for me. I said 10 for the listeners on Spotify. I'm holding up my fingers, all 10.
Like you said, bro, he blew by Cade. I was like, oh, okay, he probably just gonna get a layup.
Nah,
rose and fucking punch.
Bro, he got like a pogo stick on 12 feet. He could have dunked that on a 12-foot rim. Bro.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Low 10.
Like that's you said, crazy. Just seeing stuff like that, it just
teased me up, bro. That teased me up, bro.
I was just like, oh,
I was like, whoa. I'm not a Magic fan, but I was like, man, that is a good one.
That was a good punch.
I love how we talked about that. That's dope, bro.
But Detroit now must win 3 straight, a feat only one number 1 seed has managed since 2003. Finally. Cleveland and Toronto are tied 2-2. We brought this up a little bit earlier, just seeing what both of these teams are looking like. I think we brought it up last podcast. After the Raptors' gritty Game 4 win, despite going 4 for 30 from 3, Toronto made late plays Brandon Ingram's only second half three, RJ Barrett's contact absorbing layup, and Scotty Barnes'
Mhm.
free throws, while Cleveland's Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and James Harden struggled, leaving the series to be decided by which side adapts best offensively in Game 5. Man, this
Which is
is
today.
tonight. Yep, it's going on right now. It's the third quarter, but this series has been incredible. I think it's
Yeah.
I brought it up
All
last
of them
podcast, but just all the Eastern Conference, you know what I mean, for the
have
most
been
part have been
awesome.
wire to wire upsets, whatever it may be, but just seeing what Toronto can look like with like Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram,
Yeah, we talked about it
RJ
in all
Barrett,
season.
bro. What
Yeah,
what what they
bro.
look like, it's
It's good.
it's good. It's really good. And like I'm not saying I'm surprised, but just seeing it all the changes happen so rapidly and them figuring out how to, play well with one another. Just I commend Brandon Ingram because I feel like he doesn't get a lot of love, but obviously he's a bucket. I know he's a bucket as well.
Mhm.
But I feel like he doesn't
He's a cool
really
cat too.
get the opportunities a lot, being in New Orleans and early years of with the Lakers just didn't really have the opportunity to go really far into the playoffs. So, with the roster he has now, with the players he has, Scotty,
That's a good
defensively,
point. I didn't
y'all
even think
look
about it like that.
incredible. Brandon
Yeah.
Ingram, I think he can really, when he's on, he can really shift a series. And I think we're seeing glimpses of that and, just fitting perfectly with the roster that they have because we know Toronto defensively really good. They've been able
That's where
to
they've shined.
they've been
Yes.
able to, have, like I just mentioned, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, James Harden to struggle from the field. And that's something where heading into the series, I would have told you that was their advantage. Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, one of the best, backcourts in the East right now, going against, or with Evan Mobley, Jared Allen.
Mhm.
They're elite. This is probably one of the best, four starting fives in the Eastern Conference. But Toronto has been able to play gritty basketball. Jamal Shedd's been doing incredible coming off the bench, getting it going. I think he's actually been starting now.
Steals.
Yeah, because Emmanuel
Yeah.
quickly still out, but Jamison Battle having a game. Scotty
Colin Murray
Barnes, call
Boyles.
CMB, bro.
Oh
CMB's
my.
looking good, bro. Undersized,
Yeah.
undersized.
I mean,
Power
15
forward
and 10.
getting to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Like
So
he
they're
yeah,
doing all the things right now. You know
for
what I mean? They're
sure.
playing really aggressive defense. Their role players are not even like doing anything probably that wasn't expected of them, but just the biggest stage. The lights are bright. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is the Cavs going to be
Jared
able
Allen,
to
right?
win tonight? You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll leave it off with
Yeah,
that because
bro.
I feel like we've
Yeah.
seen it. We've seen it a lot. So this game
We
5 is
have.
huge. We'll see what it ends up looking like, but getting a 3-2 lead in a playoff series is very vital and it can shift the series. So we'll see what this game looks like. But I like what I've
Yeah.
seen from Toronto. Honestly, like their
Me
offense
too,
isn't the
bro.
greatest at for a full 48, but what we know about playoff basketball and what we've been able to see up to this point, for playoffs, the series to be going, you need to be able to win these scrappy type of match or
Mm.
games, and I think Toronto
Yeah.
are looking like they can do that. With a reliable scorer and Bi and the versatility of what Scotty Barnes has been able to be for them. So I'm excited to see this game 5. It's looking like a pretty good one. Toronto leading by 9 right now and in third. So we'll see, man.
Unreal. Unbelievable. And this one's on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're able to get this W, to your point, Toronto's it's they've guarded well all year. It's not a surprise to us. We've analyzed them a lot this season. However, to see them play it out, to your
Yes.
point, their role players are playing within their role. They're not doing too much and they're not doing too little. They're evening out all of the kinks that, again, whenever Brandon Ingram is struggling or RJ Barrett's struggling, you get 15 from Colin Murray Boyles. You might get 8 points, 2-3 steals from Jamal Shed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal. And Cleveland doesn't have that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Tyson and Strus, like a lot of their guys are also struggling a little bit. And yeah, the Eastern Conference has been a bloodbath. Go watch the Eastern Conference playoff series. All of them, Knicks and the Hawks and the Magic and the Pistons and the Sixers and the Celtics and, of course, the Raptors and the Cavs. All of them have been great. Let's talk about the West now, CJ, and then we'll
Mm-hmm.
finish it out with Cooper Flagg. But San Antonio closed out Portland 4-1 by jumping to a 12-2 start in Game 5. Did you watch Game 5?
I didn't actually.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was a
I
blowout.
was about to say, I didn't even.
Hey, the Spurs, we can't support them. All of a sudden, the Lakers are. Hey, we are not Spurs fans. I had to remind my girl of that. She's all, look at Wemby. Look, no,
Good on it. We good on it.
Yeah, we good on it. The Spurs, though, they jumped out to a 12-2 start in Game 5, hitting 67% in the first half and building a 28-point lead. I did see that behind Julian Champagne's 4 of 5 from 3-point shooting, and De'Aaron Fox 7 first-half assists, and a defense that converted 4 turnovers into 10 points. Victor Wembanyama's return from concussion. He had 27 points, 11 boards, and 7 blocks and 4 steals, bro. What's that number, CJ? That's 11 stocks.
Yeah,
Wemby completely changed the series. We have spoken about him at length. He is an MVP finalist. Somehow came back 2 days after getting a minor concussion, which I'm still in the gray area with. My girl was like, how is he back so fast? I said, I don't know. Seems like an NBA nerd. I don't know. Nah, I'm just hating. He's just crazy, bro. 7'4", 7'5" demigod. But hey, the Spurs were able to get a win without him in the lineup. We saw Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle hit a couple threes, which we retweeted something on social. Stephon Castle had a Slam article. Go look at it. You can go on slam.com and go find it. You can go look at it. But we reposted it, and I said it. I was like, he's got to get a consistent jumper before we started taking him serious. He ended up hitting 38% from 3 in this series. They were letting him shoot games 1 and 2. He wasn't knocking them down. In game 3, that changed, and then he finished it out strong. And obviously, Wemby, whenever he comes back, has those 11 stocks. It's pretty crazy. He gave the Spurs a dominant 2-way anchor for the next round. Obviously, Minnesota still leads Denver 3-2, but game 5 showed Denver supporting cast erupted. Spencer Jones hit 4 threes and scored 20, while Cam Johnson, Christian Brown, and Bruce Brown forced 25 turnovers between the 3 of them that produced 35 points to help Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray stave off elimination. That is a really interesting series right now. To me, that is the closest series we need to watch. Why? The Nuggets are the one team that took the Thunder to 7 games last year, outside of the Pacers, obviously. And we know what happened in that game with Halliburton going down. Neither here nor there. The Nuggets, we spoke about them last pod. My personal opinion, and I know you'd have to agree, they don't look like that potential championship team that we've seen the last 3 seasons. They've knocked my Lakers out a ton, looking like that team that we know and love. And right now, Nikola Jokic has really struggled against Rudy Gobert. The Wolves are missing Anthony Edwards and DiVincenzo as well to those new injuries. In game 5, we saw Jokic was able to get comfortable. The role players were really able to step up. And to me, CJ, that was the one thing that's been holding the Nuggets back. It's not really their starters. It's not Jokic and Murray. Jokic and Murray can go 16 of 40. Both have 20 points. That's not the problem. The problem is Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown and Spencer Jones and Cam Johnson. Other guys, Tim Hardaway Jr., other guys that can step up and score, they haven't been able to do that. It's forcing Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray to essentially put all of the pressure on them to be the ones to score 70 points and drag them out of a hole. That hasn't worked so far, which is why last game it was interesting. It was a new revelation. A lot of guys were in double figures. We haven't seen a lot of that on the Nuggets recently. And in my opinion, they are still the potential favorites in the series, just given the fact that no DiVincenzo and no Edwards. It just makes it really, really tough. In my opinion, game 6 hinges on role player consistency. What do you get from Io? What do you get from Bones Highland? What do we get from Naz Reid? What do we get from all of the players I just talked about on the Nuggets? What does that look like? Because it's not about the stars anymore. And we spoke about this. In these playoff series, we know the stars are going to show up. Paolo's been showing up. Cade's been showing up. But it's been about the other players for the Magic that have beaten the Pistons. It's not Cade's fault. Cade's getting to 30 a night.
Yeah.
We know what the superstars are going to be doing in the playoffs. That's why seeing Scoot in the last series go for a couple 20-point games, that was huge for us. CJ and I haven't seen that in a year.
Yeah. He literally had like a coming out party in the playoffs. Right.
And to see him do that there, it's not to say you didn't believe in him. It's not to say I didn't believe in him, but you got to show us before we say that publicly, right? Yeah. I have my own opinions that I sometimes don't even share on the show because I didn't want to see it play out. But seeing Scoot do well and seeing role players do well, players that, you know, their narrative, Io DeSungu, his narrative was broken. The Bulls shipped him off, and he gave us 43 in a playoff game. Clearly, he's still somebody who can contribute at a high level. Bones Highland, similar story. A
Mhm.
castaway who's now playing in a real role for a team that's competitive in the Western Conference. So it's
Mhm.
about the role players this playoffs in both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. And shout out Jaden McDaniels.
Yep.
My goodness, backing up the talk. We spoke about it last pod. That'll drop, but if you hadn't seen what he said, go look at his post-game presser after game 3. Basically said the entire Nuggets roster sucks and they can't guard. And then game 4 came out and showed up, got 20 points, had that big dunk, got into it with Jokic at the end of the game. Great series right there. But the defending champion, Oklahoma City, swept Phoenix, improving to 12-0 in the first round of games. For the last 3 seasons, they are 12-0. They have not lost a first-round series in 3 seasons. So they're 12-0 under Mark Daigneault. Shea closed game 4 on a 27-12 run. Shea averaged 33 points in this series and 8 assists, while Chet Holmgren and AJ Mitchell chipped in 24 and 22 points respectively in that last game. The Thunder's
Mhm.
offense averaged 126.9 points per 100 possessions in the series, CJ, and shot 54% from the field and 50% from 3 in game 4. And they will await the Lakers/Rockets winner as Phoenix enters the offseason after a 9-win improvement and one of the league's best defensive turnarounds under rookie head coach Jordan Knott. Phoenix, your season was great. No shade to you.
100%.
We saw Dylan Brooks hoop. He gave us 27 in that series. Unbelievable. But he was able to get to 30,
Yep.
score 12, 14 points multiple times against the best defense potentially of all time. Clearly, you guys are ahead of the timeline. Devin Booker did say it after the postgame. Shea has all the answers. There's not much that a team can do that's the 7th seed against potentially the best team we've ever seen.
Mhm.
Hate to say it to you guys got a bad pairing, but it's okay. It happens. Phoenix showed this season that they're capable of doing it with the right guys. They already have the roster to make a playoff push, and they don't need to do it with a bunch of stars. They proved that this year. Matt Ishbia talked. He was still talking mess after game 4, the game 4 loss. He said, "We proved that we could still play at a high level even without the superstars on our team." And I fully believe that. We spoke about that. They are the most improved team when it comes to, win-loss record, preseason predictions, all of that stuff. They won
Mhm.
9 more wins than what ESPN BPI was predicting. So it goes to show you how much of a leap they took. And their roster's great. Gillespie's great. D. Brooks had a career season. We've talked about Iguodala. We've talked about
Mhm.
Booker, obviously. They just seem to figure out a way to put it all together. That piece is Jalen Green. Can he stay healthy? He was not healthy during the regular season. In my opinion, if he had 65 games under his belt, that series could have looked a little bit different. Maybe they might have
Mhm.
won 1 game just because of the continuity, and that's something they have to work on next year. And obviously, injuries, it's injury luck. You can't control that. But Phoenix, great job. Don't be ashamed of getting swept because this is potentially the best team we've ever seen, as crazy as that is to say. But Los Angeles, this is my squad. We still lead Houston 3-1, but in game 4, unfortunately, we got exposed. The Lakers scored just 38 points in the second half on 38.2% shooting and committed 21 turnovers in that game, CJ, that the Rockets turned into 26 points. LBJ accepted the blame after scoring only 10 points in game 4 with 8 turnovers. And although DeAndre Ayton had 19 points and 10 boards before his flagrant foul ejection, Houston's balanced attack and Kevin Durant's injury mean LA must tighten the ball handling, stop turning the ball over. We've turned the ball over so much. And we've done that a lot this year. Luka Doncic, top 10 in turnovers per game. LeBron's also up there as well. We do have the offense to combat that, but against a team like the Thunder, it's one thing to beat the Rockets when you turn the ball over 20 times. Against the Thunder, no, no, no. That's not going to be able to happen if we want to win games. That's something that I personally feel like we need to clean up. And I know JJ spoke about that as well. He said the turnovers are effing horrible. I'm not going to curse because we got kids watching. The turnovers are effing horrible. We need to figure out a way. We need to see who can handle the ball. Luke Kennard didn't have the best game in game 4. I'm expecting a better game tonight as well. So it'll give us another ball handler. But we must be able to tighten up the ball handling and hope for the return of AR
I
to
think
avoid a complete. Is he coming?
he's yep. He was cleared. I just looked at my phone because I was like, oh, let me see what it is. Austin Reeves cleared for game 5. Will make his return.
He'll probably play 15 minutes, but Luka Doncic will not be in the lineup for another month, which is
Mhm.
okay. But given the fact that we can potentially beat a team that is truly better than us all around, they have better depth, better players.
Yeah.
I'm proud of us. I did not expect for us to be in this position up 3-1 against Houston. To me, that's been the most interesting series just because LA was so depleted and the fact that
Yeah.
we were able to show the entire world that clearly LeBron is still fine. We also beat them with KD in the lineup for one game. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant was completely gone. So
And the
again,
way
the
y'all
Lakers are
won
the way we won
game
again.
4
Well,
or
that
game
was a little
3.
lucky. That was a little lucky. In my opinion, it was just our defense. We've been able to hold them under 100. I told you that magic number is 113. The turnovers haven't been great, but we've been able to get scoring from Luke Kennard,
Yep.
get Aiton, Hachimura, all of the Marcus Smart. He's
Mm-hmm.
been my X factor for the first round. But yeah, Spurs are through. Nuggets, Timberwolves still need to play, and credit to the Timberwolves since they're also depleted now. Lakers are playing tonight, and Suns and Thunder is over. So the East is more interesting than the West. We talked about that for a little longer, just because they have closer series.
Mm-hmm.
But the Western Conference has still been good, and I've been happy to watch my team, and we've shocked the world. We're still playing at a high level, even without our core ball handlers. And so, in my opinion, the entire playoffs has been great. That was some of the playoff. It's a playoff party. That was some of
Yeah.
the playoff matchups, the run throughs, and the analysis for you guys. And hopefully, you guys can catch the game before the first round is over. Because the deeper that it gets into the NBA playoffs, the what CJ, the less games we got
Less
to
games.
watch.
Yep.
So just remember, this is
Appreciate
the
it
most
while
that
we
we'll have.
can, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Appreciate it while you got it, bro.
Yep.
But let's talk about Coop, man.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about the rookie of the year, ZD.
Mm.
Flagg wins rookie of the year. Dallas's rookie Cooper Flagg was named NBA Rookie of the Year after edging his former Duke roommate Colin Knippel by 26 points in a vote by 100 media members. The 19-year-old Flagg received 56 first place votes and became the second youngest winner of the award. Flagg averaged 21 points, 6.7 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 1.2 steals per game, and joined Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Luka Doncic as the only rookie since the 1976
CJ,
merger.
who's the youngest rookie of the year? Do you know that? I was going to ask.
I was just thinking of that. That LeBron.
Yeah, of course. There you go. Keep it
Yeah,
moving.
yeah.
Yeah. You might have said Magic or LeBron. Those are the only
That's
two
why I was like,
applicable
wait,
ones.
LeBron was in high
Yeah,
school, so
LeBron 19.
yeah, not
Yeah,
yeah,
19.
18, sorry. Cooper Flagg joined Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Luka Doncic as the only rookies since the 1976 merger to advance to average at least 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. He
It's
also
crazy.
became the first rookie since Jordan in 1984-85 to lead his team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals, and was the only player in the NBA this season to lead his team in each category. So shout out to
That
Cooper
is
Flagg.
crazy, dude.
Shout out to Cooper Flagg, bro. I mean,
Not
we've
even Jokic, right?
we've had this conversation, and it's crazy seeing what it is turning into now. But the is Cooper Flagg generational?
Oh,
Is this and that? So I
I
think
might have said, I might have
he
said no.
hey, he showed us this season what he can be, and just seeing all his glimpses throughout this whole season has been incredible. So shout out to Cooper Flagg, man. It's been incredible to see what your season turned into in this getting this rookie of the year. Wasn't easy. You had your college
No.
teammate on your tail the whole year, and obviously you missed time that made it even more interesting, but it started to get a little dicey for you at the end
Yeah,
of the year. But
Knuckle
man,
hit 271 threes, and his team also was in the plan.
yeah,
Like you said, it was not easy. Knuckle
it
was
was not
getting
easy.
19. He had like
Mhm.
38 in that game against Coop. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
man. But Flagg's scoring exploits included becoming the first teenager to score 50 points in an NBA game when he dropped 51 points on Orlando on April 3rd, surpassing his own 49-point record from January 29th. And he logged 6 games with at least 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. So shout out to Coop, bro. Just seeing being an
Unbelievable.
all around player, defensively, offensively. Your jump shot started to look a lot better throughout the whole season. You being able to attack the rim and get posters and dunk on people,
Guard.
guard. You could do everything. So Dallas, you got another one, man. Shout out to y'all, I guess, but he's looking like the real deal. So shout out to Coop once again, man. Um, Although the Mavericks finished 26 and 56 amid injuries and a salary cap trade of Anthony Davis, Flagg led all rookies in scoring, ranked second in assists and third in rebounds. Knipple, the number 4 pick, averaged 18.5 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, shot 42.5% from three, broke the rookie record with 273 made threes, and helped Charlotte improve by 25 wins to 44 and 38. Voters
Yeah.
favored Flagg because his all-around production, leading his team in every major category, setting teenage scoring records, and matching historical greats, outweighed Knipple's three-point prowess and team improvement, making Flagg the more transformative rookie.
Yeah, people can argue with that. This has been one of the best rookie of the year races in recent memory. Knuppel will be around. It's not like Cooper Flagg said it in the TNT thing. He's like, yeah, bro, he called me because he told me congratulations. Obviously, those guys played at Duke. For people who don't know, that's why it's such a big deal. You're probably like, why does it matter? Like,
yeah,
if you don't know,
they're just rookies. Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, like they're just rookies. Like, why are they pairing them up together? They're just both on Duke. So
yeah.
Point is, Knuppel had a great year. You brought it up. Sorry, not 271, 273. Even two more threes made this season. Number 1 in the league. You brought it up. The 25 win improvement for me is what Cooper Flagg needs to show now.
Yeah.
Can he translate this to winning? That's my only question. There's no more questions about his skill. And I'm not going to ask you about his skill. My only question is, do the Mavericks win next season? Because this needs to translate to winning, not now, but at some point, if we get to 3 years, 4 years down the line and Cooper Flagg is still on the 30 and there's 82, so 52 30, Mavericks.
52, sub 400 or 500
he's not
team
winning
for the
rookie
season.
Of the year, right?
Not
he's not winning the rookie. Like, what does that look like, do you think? Because if we're being honest, the Mavericks got a top, I'm going to say it now, I'm going to call it top 8 pick, which is really good in this draft.
Yep. Yeah, they could get a PG or someone like that. That's kind of what I see them. Like you said, you mentioned him all year, Darius Acuff. So I think that's that would be a great fit. But obviously not taking that away from them because that's a huge part of their season.
Yeah, it's a huge.
I don't think even with that and Coop, obviously Kyrie coming back might make a huge difference. It will make a huge difference.
Just the West.
It's just the West. Yeah. Are you going to be able to? You got to win. We saw it with the 7th seed Suns winning, was it 49 games this season? 45 games, and barely
45.
46. Barely making the playoffs. So you got to, that's kind of the bar at this point. Like, damn near a 50-win team and make an 8th spot in the West. Can the Mavs do that? I'm not going to count them out, but it's going to be tough for them too. You know what I mean? Like they can potentially be like a play-in team. That's kind of where I envision their season this upcoming year. But when you have Coop, we'll see what that looks like. You just don't have a lot around him right now. So
my homie Ishmael came into his PM shift today. First thing he said to me was, "Did you see Cooper Flagg won? I told you." Because he's a big Mavericks fan, and I've been jawing at him and telling him like, he's not Luka, and he's not this, but he showed me the ESPN thing today, so he got me on that one. But I respect it, bro. You brought it up. Cooper Flagg has, again, scored 50 as a teenager, second youngest rookie of the year of all time. Led his teams in points, rebounds, and assists. Hadn't been done since rookie Michael Jordan as a rookie, obviously. This just goes to show you his generational capability. And he's sort of, to me, he's like, I don't love Wemby, but I love Cooper Flagg. Basically, he's like that. Like if we had to pick a generational guy, you might say AJ. He's coming in, and the kids really like AJ. I don't really even like AJ like that, but I like Flagg though because I like the way he handles his business. He guards as well, and
I fuck with
for
Cooper
me,
Flagg
he's just
too,
got the dog, bro. Yeah. He's got a dog, and
I get that. Oh, fuck, bro. Maybe it's because Wemby plays for the Spurs. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe I have that.
if
I ain't
if
gonna lie, I have a
Wemby did
big
not
bias.
play, yeah, me too, and I'll admit it, and it
Me
sucks to say,
too.
like I try not
I'm
to be
a
biased.
Lakers fan. Of course,
Yeah,
I hate the Spurs.
come
The Spurs like ruined our lives, bro.
come on, bro, come on, bro.
Yeah.
So,
Same for
but
you.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like the Mavs either, but I do fuck with Cooper. You know what I mean? Like I've
Yeah.
had a
I'm
lot of
like,
battles with damn near all the
no, for
Texas
sure.
teams. You know what I mean? And even LA, like pretty much everybody in the West, like you don't like each other, but I do fuck with Cooper Flagg more. I don't know why.
Same. I don't know
I think
why.
it's just
Just
maybe he's like a little
like
more
his
like
game.
humble. I guess I don't know. Like he
For me,
doesn't
I
really
was gonna
talk,
say that
but
his humility level is
yeah,
very ahead of his age.
yeah,
You could say at 20, right? He could be very cocky and brash, but he's very reserved. And
right,
I just like the way he handles his business. He reminds me more of like a Shea than of an Ant.
mm,
Like if
right,
you're,
yeah.
those are like the
That's a
two
good.
spectrums, and he's more on the Shea side. So
Yeah, I agree.
just a quiet, reserved dude who put up crazy numbers. And next year will be even better. I
Yeah.
bet you he gets 25, 5, and 7 because he's going to have the ball more, even more than he did this year. And yeah, I think we can be done about talking about Cooper Flagg. Y'all know if you're a Dallas fan, you can chirp me, whatever. I said he was going to win, but obviously we're not Mavericks fans, so we get it.
Yeah.
But historical year, I'm not going to take it away from bro, and he
No,
deserves
no,
it.
no.
I would have voted for him, and I
Me
know
too.
you would have too.
Yeah.
You would have swapped it.
I
So.
would have swapped it for sure.
Yeah, so we good on that one. Let's get into the game previews and get the people out of here, man.
Yes, sir.
I'll start it off, bro. The 6 p.m. game. This one was a banger. Is it final now? It's
It's final.
8:45 Central. So don't tell me who won, but the Magic had listed Franz Wagner and Jonathan Isaac as a game time decision. CJ, I know they played. Kevin Huerter was listed as a GTD for the Pistons. Think he ended up going as well. Not too sure, but I'm sure he went. This would be the fifth matchup between the Pistons and the Magic. Obviously, it just went final, so we're going into the sixth. But the fifth for this episode, with Orlando leading the playoff series 3-1 and pushing Detroit to the brink of elimination. Orlando still control of the series with a 113-105 Game 3 win behind Paolo Banchero and Desmond Bane, both scoring 25 points, and followed it up with a gritty 94-88 Game 4 win, despite shooting just 32.8% from the field. Both teams have shot under 38% from three and under 40% from the floor. It's not great over the last couple of games, but I will say in a winner go home scenario, 60-win team in the Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham on the other side, I just don't think he let them lose tonight. Not tonight. Maybe some other night. But I've got to take the Pistons on a Wednesday at 6 p.m. on the road, down 3-1, fighting for their season. CJ, was I right?
You were right, sir.
Let's
You were
go.
right, sir. Yeah.
Let's go.
Pistons got a 7-point win, 116
Yeah,
to
let's
109.
go. Let's go, bro.
Yep.
And that makes sense, guys, because we just can't go home. Not this way. You had asked me a really good question, and I'll bring it up. But if they got bounced from the first round, what did the Pistons do?
Yeah.
Number one, we're not signing Jalen Duren to $200 million. And we might also be trading a couple players like a Tobias Harris, somebody who can't, like, he's good, but it's just not enough to get over the hump. Duncan Robinson is staying, Cunningham staying, Asar staying, Duren and Cade. Outside of that, everything else is up for grabs. Dennis Jenkins, he might be able to be the backup. Come on in. Everything else, though, we're cleaning house. If they lose game, what is this, 6 now?
6, yep.
And they go home, we're going to have to talk about what the Pistons need to do because they might need to clean house, and they can't pay Jalen Duren because he ain't showed up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they got a W, but.
Yeah, I was about to say, it would have been. Just don't get gentlemen swept. You know what I mean? Like, put up a fight, especially as the number one team in the Eastern Conference. Y'all were good all season. You had a lot of struggles injury-wise. Cade missing a lot of time. People in and out. Jalen Duren missed a little bit of time. You know, you were battle-tested, but I think that is the beauty of the playoffs, NBA playoffs specifically. You know, your regular season, it matters, but it is really a matchup perspective whenever you get to the playoffs, and the way that the Magic can play when they're playing at their best level and what we've been able to see all year or this playoffs specifically.
Yeah, like playoffs.
They match up really well with the Pistons. So that being said, backs against the wall, like you mentioned, away, in Orlando, is it kind of making it a little more, or no, they were in Detroit tonight. They're in
Yeah.
Orlando for
They're
game
in.
6.
My
You
bad.
know,
I had it flipped on the
still
outline. So
back against
yeah,
the wall in your home court, Detroit. Y'all
for
are trying to
sure.
hold it down,
They were at home.
showing up. I haven't looked at the Bucks yet, so I don't know all the stats, but it's a win or go home. You know what I mean?
You bring up a good point too, bro. Like at some point, you play 7, 8, 9 playoff games. That's who you are. Let's
Mhm.
not, like you brought it up. If Orlando plays 9 playoff games, how many more games is it going to take for us to say this is just who they are,
Right.
right? Like
Exactly.
this is what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So you bring up a good point with that. I didn't even think about it like that. That's what they've been doing all playoffs.
Yeah.
We get 5, 6, 7 games in. What are we going to all sit here and be like, nah, this ain't the Magic. They're still fraud. And to your point, the Pistons should win on their home court. Yep. I'm glad they won.
Me too.
Last question for you before we move on from this one. Do they win this series? Oh my God. I don't know.
I'll say this. If they win game 6, I think they go into game 7 and win. So yes, but if they lose next game, then
they're
obviously
out.
not.
Yeah.
Go in Orlando. We'll see. Bench players, role players usually play better when they're home. I don't know how well they shot. I'm not looking at the box score. We're just kind of chopping it up about it. But
yeah, we shooting it.
I think from the experience of this game, knowing where you're at, people didn't expect you to be here to be beating the best team in the Eastern Conference. You're up 3-2. I think it's more pressure on the Pistons, obviously, to win because of their seeding and this and that. But I feel like Orlando is going to put a lot of pressure on themselves to be able to close out this series. You're already up 3-1. If you end up blowing a 3-1 lead, force a game 7, I think Pistons end up getting that matchup. But
that's a good point.
That being said, game 6, I think it's all in the Magic's hands, bro. Can they start off hot? Jalen Suggs, can he get it going early? Can Paolo get it going from the mid-range? Franz attacking the rim.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the threes.
It's the threes, you know what I mean? So we'll see. I'm excited. That's makes it the series even better. I think originally I said Pistons in 6, 5, I believe.
5, yeah.
I think it was something like that. Like I did a gentleman's sweep. So
yeah, you didn't have like 4 game though, or no. I don't even know if it was 5. You might have said 6. So
yeah, I think it might have been 6. I'm not too sure. I don't remember, but I remember giving it to the Pistons because of Orlando's inconsistency. But now we've seen what that looks like, and like you said, once we see it in the playoffs for 7 games, it's like, right, all right, this is how this team is now. Like they might have been fluky in the middle of the year, in the start of the season, end of the season, but this is what they are now. So
this is what it is.
It's face value, but no, man, it's like excited to see game 6.
That's one of the best series of the whole playoffs. That's why we talk about it a lot. So
100%. But going into the next game that tipped off, it was a 6:30 tip off. This is almost final, looking like a banger. 7 minutes left, but we have the Raptors versus Cavs. The Raptors have Emmanuel quickly listed as out, and he's missed this whole series up to the point. So hopefully he'll be able to come back soon. But Cavs have no one listed as out, so. Full healthy roster for the Cleveland Cavaliers, always good to see, but some storylines for this matchup. Tonight is game 5 between the Raptors and Cavs with the series tied 2-2 after Cleveland jumped out to a 2-0 lead before Toronto answered with back-to-back home wins, including a 126-104 game 3 blowout and 93-89 game 4 grinded out win. Scotty Barnes has been the swing piece for Toronto, averaging 25.8 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, and 7.3 assists on 52% shooting in the series, while Donovan Mitchell is leading Cleveland at 24.3 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game, and 3.8 assists. But he shot just 6 of 24 in game 4 as the Cleveland Cavs finished 10 of 40 from 3 and turned the ball over 18 times. Huge game 5. Cleveland at home. We always say it's not a true NBA series or it's not a real series until the road team wins. Toronto coming out these back-to-back wins, both in different fashions, but we're able to get it done nonetheless. Cleveland, I think they're going to come out. I think it's going to be
guns blazing
type of game for Cleveland.
Balls to the wall.
Nothing to lose. You're
nothing
in
to lose.
Cleveland. This is a huge swing game. You're home. I think it'll be a great opportunity for the Sam Merrills, the Max Struces to potentially have a game that shifts the series and swings it in their favor. But we know Toronto is going to play that defense. They're going to make it a scrappy game. This is obviously a down to the wire type of game right now, but I think I'm rocking with the Raptors, man. I'm rocking with the Raptors away. I think they steal this one.
I'm gonna go against you. In my opinion, Donovan Mitchell has a really dangerous record in these types of games, and I'll be honest, the game 5, I think percentage-wise, it's a huge flip. If you win game 5 up 3-2, going in game 6, you're like above 55%, almost 60%. So I'll play the numbers at home. Donovan Mitchell, he's going to be cooking. James Harden's going to be cooking. And it's my belief that the Cavs are a better team than the Raptors. So no way they're going home. If they're going home, we need to rethink our offseason files and everything because they're in the second apron. We've talked about their balance sheet a lot, but that impacts you a lot in the playoffs because if you are a second apron team, you're championship or bust, to put it simply. So they better win this first round. So let's see if they can get it done, man. Game hasn't gone final, but we will see. And this is the most exciting matchup of the night. We got the LA Lakers versus the Houston Rockets, and LA is at home. Rockets are on the road. The Rockets have Kevin Durant listed as out. And the Lakers have no one listed as out other than Luka Doncic. We got Austin Reeves back for today. It's going to be good. But yeah, 2 big stars missing for this game. But anyways, this is the 5th game between the Lakers and the Rockets with LA leading 3-1 after taking the first 3 games, including a 112-108 overtime win in game 3, while LeBron had 29 points, 13 boards, and 6 assists. Houston kept its season alive with that game 4 win where they won 115-96, CJ. Behind Amen Thompson's 23 and Tari Eason's 20 points, and a defense that forced 23 LA Laker turnovers. We talked about that in the Western Conference playoff party section. LA needs to cut down on the turnovers to clearly beat the Rockets. We can beat the Rockets even turning the ball over 20 times because they haven't been shooting very good, but we need to cut down the turnovers to make sure we can take care of our business and stop playing with our food. The Rockets also held us to 5 of 22 shooting from 3 last game. That won't be the case. We're at home tonight. You always say this, but bench players are going to be playing a little bit better. We've been going 7, 8 deep. Rui, Marcus Smart, now AR, LBJ, Kennard, Jackson Hayes, Ayton, Vando, or your boy Laravia, Hotline Bling. Yeah. Okay, so he's still in there. We saw the jelly. Yeah. But, we're going 8 or 9 deep. I'd say JJ got a pretty long lineup for tonight. The Rockets going to bring it. You just brought it up with the Cavs and the Raptors series, man. They're fighting for their season. There's going to be desperation. And Reed Shepherd, I'm expecting to have a really big game. He's been really quiet. LP's been hooping. Jabari Smith's been hooping. Amen Thompson's been good. But Reed Shepherd really is the reason they haven't been able to win this series. No initiator, nobody to hit consistent threes. And that's something that Reed Shepherd's been known to do. In my opinion, we're going to take care of business tonight. We're going to shut his water off and then also get Amen Thompson's water off. He's been grabbing a lot of offensive rebounds. They're killing us on the glass, which it's not a surprise. Houston was the #1 offensive rebounding team. It's going to happen, but we just have to limit those offensive second chance points. CJ, LA, and that's it for me. That's it for me. No more.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I got the Lakers too, bro. I'm not gonna lie, y'all been looking really good. No KD, y'all got AR back. I think it's just it's perfect timing. Obviously, didn't want to see AR and Luka get injured, but the fact y'all were able to weather the storm of what the Rockets can be. I think y'all wrap this series up, gentlemen's sweep, and see y'all in the second round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and see you on Live on Assist.
Live on Assist.
We're gonna be on there on YouTube. Y'all will see this run back. But CJ, do you have anything else for the people? This was a banger and a good and long one for them.
No, sir, man. Just keep watching hoops. We talk about it all the time. We appreciate y'all for listening and watching the podcast. Come join our lives. Come chop it up with us. We'd love to have a conversation as
Cooper Flagg articles out.
Cooper Flagg on the article. 3manweaveofficial.com. Check us out. Shout out to ZD on that. And man, thunder up, and we'll see you in the next round, Z.
We're gonna see the thunder. And I was going to tell you, if Luka may not be there, but AR gives me some juice. That's a different type of hype. I'm gonna be hyped then. We got 2 of our stars. There's no excuse if we lose the series. I'm not gonna be saying we're hurt. one star doesn't. If we can't beat y'all without Luka, we wasn't meant to beat y'all. So if AR and LeBron are there as two of our highest scoring players of the season, you can't really be complaining, acting like you're hurt. We just got to go out there and prove it today, and then hopefully in round 2, man. But we got to handle our business today. We can't play with our food. So y'all watch the playoffs. We'll go through it with y'all. We finished the season outlooks. Hopefully y'all enjoyed those too. You know, if you're a new viewer, thanks for sticking all the way to the end. Shows how real you are. And if you're returning, thank you for being with us again. But CJ, take us out, bro.
Well, if y'all liked and enjoyed this episode of 3-Man Weave, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time.
Next time, man.
Peace. 3-Man, 3-Man. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That was a banger.
That was a good one, bro.